So Trillian said earlier he doesn't believe this is going to get there, and I'm in agreement. I don't think that we're going to get those answers. They're going to try to kill him. Because the trial would be the worst thing to happen, I think, for the truth coming out.
But I think it's just going to be one of those JFK things that even if you get what they say the truth is, even if it's trialed, everyone's just going to say, "Oh, that was a setup. I don't believe it." Like this is going to be unresolved forever.
Well, Jack Ruby killed Lee Harvey Oswald. That's what I'm saying. Lee Harvey Oswald, who was the suspected killer, right? Who denied it, actually. Well, he said he did it, and then he denied it, and they killed him. Or Jack Ruby killed him, who his real name was Jakob Rubenstein. That's what I'm referencing. And there was no answers because he was dead, so it was over.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying.
But even the greater conspiracy and even the NUMEC thing and the all of that is still very fringe, and exactly. No one can confirm it.
That's what I was getting at, is that I said it's taboo now. People are saying it's taboo to consider that this whole thing with Kirk had an Israeli involvement, but the whole thing that I said was that JFK has never been officially confirmed by the government to be Israel's fault either. So, again, I do agree that there might just be this endless cycle of this being up in limbo of, who was at fault, especially if he's killed, because, if he's killed, that's just another log onto the fire of reasons that this is similar to the JFK situation, because it's like the same thing. There's a patsy. He says he didn't do it, and then he's killed shortly after the event. So
I think it's worth considering as well, because I know I've got an alternative view to most. Like most people think Israel's in charge, but I think this is the perfect operation for a controlled, managed divorce between Israel and America, and an ideal opportunity to allow rampant speculation to occur, even if US intelligence were involved in the operation. So I think the geopolitical side of what comes next is probably really important in understanding why this happened and why we're probably never going to get the answer, because they want you to they want everyone to be speculating on this, and also just pick your favorite conspiracy just based upon whatever your ideology is. I think it's going to be one of those.
Let's bring in David. David, jump in.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Great. You've become the center of the world for free speech, and I really enjoy your spaces. My field of study in philosophy is the nature and means by which we furnish our minds with ideas and how we confidently know things. And so I think that for the most part, everybody in this room, and I love what Joe had to say, this is not a left-right thing. I think that you're the ones that are thinking soundly, and the people that are just accepting whatever narrative is thrown on them, they're the ones where all the work is ahead of them in terms of defend their point. For instance, if we blithely accept that there are at least two diversions, if everyone blithely accepts that, then why wouldn't you accept that there are three? Why wouldn't you say the third person, the person on the roof, was also a diversion? And then the second and only other point that I want to make is, he who posits must defend. It is not your responsibility to come up with a countervailing theory. Our friend here who was talking a moment ago, along with, I think it's Bisfit, you were talking, along with Simon, you're absolutely right. It's reasonable to assume that it's reasonable to say that the narrative that's being put forth to us just doesn't work. I feel this way about 9/11. It is not my responsibility to come up with another theory when the evidence that's put in front of me is there's such a dearth of evidence. For instance, Thomas Crooks, if a friend of yours is really, really accepting the narrative, you can say, well, the one thing we know for sure is that if Israel was behind this, we would never know. We know for absolute sure, we have all the evidence in the world that they will lie to us. Look at the Epstein thing. They're clearly lying to us. Whatever they're doing, they clearly do not have the pleasure of agreeing with themselves, which is the first step of a rational person. So I just want to caution everybody, you don't really have to have a countervailing theory. That what is being put to me, for instance, what I see is the current evidence. I'm just unpersuaded by it. And then all of the other things that have come before in the last 5 years just lie. Like, the only thing that I can count on my government to do is to lie to me constantly and incessantly. So why should I believe them now?
Wow, so base, bro.
Yeah, agree with everything you said there, David. Let's go to Amaru.
Thanks. Man, I agree with everything that David said. It's unfortunate that you blocked me, but no, I think you have a point, because just like with 9/11 and JFK and USS Liberty and everything, all these false flags, right? We don't need perfect evidence to understand that Israel's behind it. So why are we kind of going back in time and reverting and changing our strategy when it comes to what's happening right now? I mean, they have been lying about everything. They've lied about everything, virtually everything. Why do you think they're not lying about this? I mean, Blue, I think his name is. Like,
Yeah.
how heavy is the cinder block that you bang your head over every single day to forget the fucking pattern that we're seeing every day? Like, how are you forgetting everything? How are you demonizing the left and not
Bruh.
seeing the obvious attempt to fan the flames by these Jewish accounts? How do you not see it? Where do I get this cinder block that you bang your head over so I can forget every single day the pattern I see right before me? Just tell me how.
There's no cinder block. I don't know what you're talking about. I have been saying that I believe personally Israel let this happen. But I do think that there is some loss on the average person. You know, if you're just jump to the conclusion of, yeah, Israel did it for sure. I'm not saying you're wrong to say Israel had a hand in it at all. But what I do believe is that there is a leftist aspect of this. I think there's a great potentiality based on the evidence we have that you could come to the conclusion that this was motivated by a leftist agenda. And I think that also what has come out of it, what's more important is the reaction. Like I said, I was accosted personally in public by one of these piece of shit liberal leftists who thought that they were, you know, righteously coming to save me from my own ideology. And that's a problem, that there's all these people celebrating. So you can't say, oh, well, why don't you just say it's all Jews and it's just all Israel? Like, yeah, obviously they had an involvement, but it's also these people who are not Jewish. They're just indoctrinated by Jewish media. They're indoctrinated by leftist, liberal, sometimes transgender ideologies. And
Let me stop you
they
right
are
there.
celebrating, and they
The
would
only
rather I
reason-
get killed. They would rather you are killed. They don't give a shit if it's Israel. You know, these people who are, a lot of these people, and I see this on the right, a lot of these people who are pro-Palestine but not on the right, they still hate you, and they will never see you as an ally if you are pro-Palestine, because they see you as a fascist. They basically see you as a Zionist if
Let me
you
stop you
are
right there.
pro-white.
The only reason you bring in this whole the left wants you dead and the left is likely responsible is because you're being a feeling-based human. That's the only reason. You're too caught up with your feelings. You're too caught up with your anger and your hate and your
No,
emotions.
no,
If you
you're
were to
insane.
sit
These
down for
people
10 minutes straight,
celebrated.
hold up, let me finish. If you were to sit down for 10 minutes straight and just cool off, maybe get in a cold shower, I don't know what you're gonna have to do, but cool off a little bit. Stop hating the
This
left like
guy.
a moron the way that they've been pushing you to hate them, and then let's see what your conclusion is. Don't be inflamed with your anger and your hatred and the propaganda
You've
that
lost.
they've been
You've
feeding
lost the
you.
plot, buddy.
You're the
You've
one
lost
who's
the
lost
plot,
the
buddy.
plot, dude.
I don't
You are
hate the
rumors
left.
in
I
your
I
think
didn't
head.
say that. Nothing I'm saying is hating the left. It's just a fact. These people celebrate our deaths.
Oh yeah, well
I
let
don't
me tell you
celebrate
this.
the left.
Shiloh Hendricks calls that little kid nigger, and you guys give her $500,000. You don't think that will
Oh,
radicalize
that was
someone?
me, right? See, this is I'm the one that needs to cool off, right?
No, but you're being a
Okay.
hypocrite. That's the problem. You guys are
How?
violent and
Do you
I think
aggressive.
identify? Do
Shiloh
you
Hendricks.
identify as a female, Blue? Blue, do you
You
identify as a female?
you obviously don't follow my account, because when the Shiloh Hendricks thing happened, I called it out as a Jewish scam. we actually interviewed, and I questioned the guy who was her manager. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're just trying to push some other narrative, and you're trying to make, I don't know, you're actually being very strange because I don't see your motivation here. What's your point? Is it that
one out of 1,000
the
examples.
left is us our friends and they love us all and they're gonna
Here's
what?
my
We
point.
hug and
Here's my point.
make up?
Trump has been a piece of shit for 10 years straight. The moment that Gavin Newsom reflects a fraction of what he's been doing, the right is like, whoa, this is out of control and so unprofessional. The left is the most agreeable and sedated and like pussy people on the planet. They're not aggressive. They're only right now celebrating, and it's just speech, by the way, because you guys have been like this with George Floyd, with January 6th, with trans people killing themselves. I'm not saying that we're right, you're wrong. I'm saying let's not be hypocrites and start a civil war because we think our anger is more justified. You both have been
I don't follow this left-right separation. I actually don't believe in it at all. And I myself, I don't follow it. So I'm not a Republican. I'm not on the right in that sense. I don't think you can just rope me in with everyone else. And I've said enough to differentiate myself already in this conversation. But you're attacking me personally.
You put all the left on the same. You put the left all in the same bucket, though. Now you want to separate yourself?
How? How did I do that?
Because you said that you said this is what the left does. The left does this. The left does that. And now you're like, oh, don't associate me with the right. Like
no, I said
don't
the
get
left
it.
is what attacked me. They're the ones who canceled me originally. It was people on the left.
Some guy attacked you, Blue. Some guy attacked you. Do you understand?
No, I'm
just
talking
like
about
I got
years
attacked
ago.
by some
You don't even know what
woman
you're talking
on the right.
about.
You don't know what
No,
you're talking
I'm
about.
talking about this is years ago.
For you,
it was
it's okay to
COVID.
stereotype. For the others, when it's you don't like to be stereotyped. That's what you're showing.
You're just going to cut me off. You're just not going to let me talk. Is that what this is?
Well, I just want you to make sense. Make it make sense.
All right. Well, if you shut the fuck up, maybe you give me a chance to say something, because I'm saying the people, the individuals who took away my ability to go to school, who took away my ability to apply for a real estate license, who doxed my family because they called me a Nazi, okay? Who doxed my house, all of these things, who lied about me and made a 10-hour documentary hit piece on me that was full of bullshit. These people were on the left. That's all I'm saying. I'm not attacking the left. I think Sullivan is pretty left, and I also believe he is a strong ally for our movement. Anybody who's on the side of truth, I'm with. Anybody who's on the side of lies and bullshit and making scapegoats, I'm not aligned with. But I don't see the point of this conversation other than you're just, because you started off by saying, well, why aren't you just saying it's all Jews? Why are you saying the left did anything wrong? And it's like, because obviously if you're going to say the Jews, why can't you say the left?
Yeah, and I would agree with you, Blue. I would agree with you in this way. I think the execration of the left, where they damn you to hell, where they pronounce you as pure evil, it's meant to end the conversation. And even Bill Maher just talked about this. He said, how is it that all the right will come and talk to me and calmly, and the left says to the right, we will not hear you? The threat of violence, of course, is meant to end the conversation and begin it. And when
they act like Jews. The left has always acted like Jews. They cry out as they strike you. They refuse to platform you for saying it's violence. They'll take you off the platform.
But if I may
finish. Who has ever on the left been deplatformed because their opinion is not welcome here?
Or when have they ever gone to a university campus and and I'm sure it's probably happened.
Huge number of people. There's a huge number of people on the left who've been censored and been prisoned.
I believe that. Yeah, and I know. Listen,
for the pro-Palestine college campus in the UK and the US, we had 900 people arrested just last week because they peacefully protested in the UK.
And we're all, that's everybody in this space is kind of on top of that, and that kind of transcends the left-right dichotomy, which is why so many. Which is why so many of us are saying, we don't want to buy this anymore. But I will say to Amiro, and I've unblocked you, my friend, I will say this. I think it is a misapplication. I think it is a bastardization. Marx wrote his thesis on Epicurus, where they were voluntarily communalist. And of course, it's very possible to be that way. We have spiritual communities in America that are like that, and they're very nice and kind and nonviolent. I think the exploitative aspect of Marxism and communism, hypocritically so. I don't think even Marx would like it. I think the exploitative aspect of it is to be able to damn everyone to hell, to be able to turn these people into robot people. And of course, once people dehumanize you, they can do whatever they want with you. You become the goyim, you become sheep for slaughter. So I really do think that's a real thing. I will say this: if the conservatives had possession of the big megaphones of society, such as Hollywood and the media, they may very well do the same thing, but they don't, do they?
No, they don't. And I want to say something really quickly because and Solomon, in response to what you said about, well, the left has been struck down. The only reason, and we all see this and know this, the only reason the left has ever been censored is because of quote unquote anti-Semitism and the pro-Palestine situation. Nothing else. You can be a communist and get away with it. That is the only section of the left that gets censored. Okay. So I think it's kind of a easy way out of the conversation. We all know that the right opinion, or sorry, the right wing is the censored side of the conversation across the board. It just so happens the left is aligned with us on the one issue.
That's why the left canceled Stephen Colbert, right? Oh, wait. Who was that?
Well, just to build on that, Blue, I 100% agree. The thing is with that is the only reason it seems that this way that the left can be quote unquote censored. I agree. The only reason they've ever been censored is for anti-Semitism or quote unquote anti-Semitism. And the reason that it seems that the left can't be censored other than that is because they won the culture war. I lived through this. We all lived through this. This happened in the 2010s, the mid to late 2010s. The left won the culture war. It's now the societal standard to be politically correct. That's the only reason it seems as if it's gone away, because it's now the societal standard. It's what comes out of Hollywood. It's what comes out of our entertainment. So to say that conservatives are censored and liberals are censored, it's just not true, because they're censored on completely different
Everyone
grounds.
that criticizes Trump is censored right now. What are you talking about, bro?
That's just not true.
They censored Charlie Kirk by killing him, right?
Criticizing Trump on what
he was Trump's biggest supporter. What are you talking about?
He was Trump recently when he started questioning about the Epstein files. Duh.
It was still a outright
Come on, Amaru. That doesn't make
defense
sense.
of Trump.
He was Trump's biggest. He was, because Charlie Kirk was Trump's biggest supporter. He was his biggest fan, and he definitely kowtowed to whatever Trump wanted, even when he was in disagreement with Trump. He might give a slight disagreement, but would always toe the line. Like your point is just like, you can make a lot more stronger point than that one, because that one's like were just
the best point. It's actually the best point, because he was about to
check it out. Amaru, check this out. So you were saying about my public interaction.
That's like saying Blue hates Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, precisely. That's like saying I hate Nick. I disavow him.
Criticizes him. When the Republicans were starting to doubt him, he called them panicans. Guys, stop banging your head over a cinder block. How powerful is this cinder block?
You're the one banging your head over a cinder block. Check this out. You attacked me for something I didn't even say. And the point of what I was saying about getting this confrontation in public is that there is a seriously concerning level of political instability I see coming to anybody who is outspoken about their views, whether you are on the left in a right-wing area or you are on the right in a left-wing area. I just think personally it is more violent on the left side. That's just my opinion, and that's from what I've seen.
But I do agree
because they are currently defending violence.
But I do agree
as we speak.
I do agree with our friend Namir here in this way. Suleiman, it's a purity test. You cannot, when Martin Luther said that the Pope was fallible, it didn't matter that if he said he's a little fallible. Once Charlie Kirk started saying, this is heresy here. These people are the new papacy of the Middle Ages. You cannot cross them. You cannot back down. You cannot say, hey, there's something wrong with the October 7th story. That's what he said. You cannot say, hey, they're the main donors. I can't help but notice they're the main donors for our border crisis. You cannot say that if you're Charlie Kirk. You cannot say Epstein and Mossad, clear relationship. That is ground zero for the threat of the entire U.S. Israeli relationship. And this is probably the most second important person in Israel's eyes, but under Donald Trump, because the under 40 crowd that his group supported, that he was a champion of, they were already overwhelmingly walking away from Israel. And if he walks away with them when he was advocating for them, that is Armageddon for them. And I think he's a little bit more on the money. I wouldn't minimize that because they don't let you. It's a purity test. And if you start walking away from it all,
Who's on the money? Sorry, David.
pardon me?
No, so who
I thought Amir was a little more. Amir
No,
was.
I thought. Oh, maybe I misunderstood what he said. I thought he said that Kirk was in conflict with Trump. I thought that's what he was
Well, I
saying.
mean, he was saying that he was in conflict with Trump to the degree that he was in conflict about the Epstein files because he said they should all be released, and he was also saying that he was in conflict with Israel because of all the things he said, and we minimize those because he really was pro-Israel, and he kept saying that, but it was like, the Israelis got really pissed off at him.
I mean, from my source, what he actually said was that it seemed like Trump had taken some of his Kirk's position or thoughts on Iran on board. That was the biggest concern that they had, that you basically had a scenario where all of Trump's administration were pro-war with Iran, and they were all for, I want to say all of them, there might be someone, but I mean the main ones, were for the bombing, for US intervention into Iran. And Charlie Kirk privately spoke to Trump and told him not to go to war with Iran. And they believe that maybe Charlie Kirk was impactful, maybe the only person who caused it, although there could have been other people they're unaware of. But that's when Trump then seeks an off-ramp and does that bombing on the nuclear sites and gets out of the situation. So there's that issue. And then in addition to that, the possible second war with Iran, which again, if he's left to his devices, could cause a huge amount of problem. So that's like more him being, if anything, being too good with Trump is the point I'm trying to make, in the sense of Trump was maybe listening to his advice a little bit and they didn't like that.
If I could add to that real quick, guys, if you listen to that entire, it was god awful, the JD Vance covering or doing Charlie Kirk show, you would think that I started calling him King Charlie at some point. They basically the involvement that they want us to believe that Charlie Kirk had with the Trump administration is like supreme. Like he goes as far, Vance goes as far as to credit Charlie Kirk solely as for him being the reason that JD Vance became vice president of the United States. So you can't really you can't underestimate like how close they. I know
don't
they're
know about
saying
that,
that
but
now.
I know, and I don't know about that, but you know better. Like, I don't know if that's true or Vance is lying and trying to hide the fact that it was Carlson and Thiel. But one thing I do know is he was definitely, and actually, yeah, he was definitely the reason why RFK joined the Trump administration.
Another great point, and what's kind of crazy is that he opened them to people who they wouldn't have considered, and like a Tulsi Gabbard, these are people from across the political aisle, and they really credit him with bringing those people into the administration. So I don't think the Iran thing is a really big call out. They ended up saying that they somehow convinced Charlie Kirk that it was the right decision or something. But that was the really big conflict. Besides that, I would say, the Trump administration even brought Charlie Kirk in to try to talk to Candace to ice her investigation into Brigitte Macron. They're very close, and if you listen to it, you'll see. I know they're playing it up because in commemoration and stuff like that. But yeah, you really can't underestimate it. He had certainly not turned away from Trump one bit. He was trying to help, and Trump did everything it seemed like did everything he could for him.
Yeah, I agree. That's the point I was trying to make. But yeah, I appreciate you, Trillian. I think we're on the same page. Ian, jump in.
Yeah, just a small little piece to add, and it actually goes back to the JFK piece. I know you guys are quite a bit past that, but I think it's actually still of relevance. And the reason I say it is just because even when pieces of history do align and do affirm things that perhaps are conspiratorial, they just seem to be swept endlessly under the rug. And I say that while pointing to Henry Kunstler. who I put down into the purple pill. So Bill Moses Kunstler, in fact, who yes comes from that same group of people, and he was the one that actually was the lawyer in the case of none other than Jack Ruby, Jacob Rubenstein. Now the reason I bring him up is not because he's a member of the tribe, or because Jack Ruby was a member of the tribe, or because he was the ACLU director and was one of the head people out there fighting on the front lines for radical change in America, just like the usual suspects that we normally talk about, but rather because, and I put it into the purple pill because you probably won't believe this, because he wrote a book, My Life as a Radical Lawyer, in which good old Bill described his defense of Jack Ruby. And in that book, he writes, again, this is the lawyer of Jack Ruby, that on not one, not two, but 3 or more occasions said, not I did it for just Israel. He said, I did it for the Jews, Bill. I did it for the Jews. And I say that because you've got the killer of none other than Oslo. And this individual, we now know that Lee Harvey Oswald was in fact killed by Jack Ruby, according to the lawyer, in protection of Israeli interests and to keep them kind of at bay so people didn't connect the dots. And even then, it's just lost into the winds of history and people somehow just sweep this under the rug. And so I brought it up because I know Simon was talking earlier about the prospect of this being conspiratorial. And I think when you have something like that directly from the firsthand lawyer of the individual doing the shooting, it's pretty reasonable to bring that up as not something that's conspiracy, but is rather definitive proof that ... So I just figured I'd throw that out there. And it does feel like we live in a world where, unfortunately, even when you can connect all these dots to the smoking gun, as is the case here, these things just conveniently get forgotten by the masses. And so I figured I'd bring that up for you and throw that out on the table. So the things that we're talking about, not purely conspiracy, they're rooted in reality.
Definitely, and
Yeah,
they're presented as an official narrative, but we still treat them like they're real and true, and we act accordingly. And we should do the same, I think, with this case, before we just, let them take control of the narrative again, which is what they want to do, of course.
I think it's more likely that this is a Jewish conspiracy, or at least there's more evidence of a Jewish conspiracy than a outright Zionist conspiracy. I don't know if I'm alone on that.
Why?
Thanks, Pablo. Right, guys, we are gonna be wrapping up. Appreciate every single person coming on the space. We'll be back tomorrow sometime between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern. Put your notifications on because we could start early, especially if there's any breaking news, or we could start slightly early. So go to my account, hit the follow, hit the notifications on. It's going to be fire. And I appreciate each and every single one of you as well. We had about 3,000 people in here again, 3,500. We're getting this every day now because everyone's coming in, want to hear the news, want to hear real discussion. Look, there's again people with a wide range of views, a wide range of opinions and thoughts, and maybe some people triggered you and some people didn't. But then you get to hear and you get to see the strength of your arguments. So
shout out to Solomon. He's everyone's favorite secret groiper. Let's go. Hail Solomon.
Appreciate it. No, I love the groipers. I mean, look, Nick's a very close friend of mine. And
we love you.